Good evening, my name is Audrey Lauren and this is the evening edition of MNN. In U.S. news, the massacres by American soldiers in Vietnam have stoked anger at home as anti-war protests escalated alongside supporters of Dr. Martin Luther King and his Southern Baptist Conference. Adding Dr. King's cloud to the already existing anti-war protests, crowds in New York, San Francisco and Chicago have swollen into the hundreds of thousands. They are calling for an end to the war and an end of racial segregation. Tensions are high in the Johnson administration as they seek to initiate a national effort to desegregate the South and end the demonstrations crippling many American cities. However, governors from the states of Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and Arkansas have vowed to fight any effort from the federal government to desegregate. They have framed it as a states' rights issue. Governor George Wallace of Alabama spoke today at a rally in Mobile.
I don't care what's going on up in Yankee cities like Chicago and New York and San Francisco. If Lyndon Johnson wants to pander to some Negro communist like Martin Luther King, let him come down to Alabama and try that. I'm telling you right now, we are drawing a line in the sand and throwing a gauntlet on the ground. Segregation now and segregation forever. And if Lyndon Johnson and his cronies in Washington want to come out here and try to stop segregation in Alabama or in Georgia or Mississippi, he better bring some guns, because those are fighting words, and we will defend our liberty.
Lyndon Johnson and his cabinet have a tight line to walk between the mass demonstrations led by Dr. King and the threat of rebellion led by southern states. In Congo, Brazzaville, reports have emerged that Soviet-supplied weapons have arrived in the capital. Government forces are now properly armed and are taking control of the countryside. Armed rebel groups are being driven across the border into Congo-Leopoldville, further inflaming the situation there. It is evident that the tension in the region will be ongoing. The Soviet-Syrian relationship appears to be under stress. There were reports of the Syrian defense minister meeting with the Soviet Politburo in Moscow. Carlos Perez is on the ground with the story.
Good afternoon, this is Carlos Perez of MNN News. I'm reporting live from Moscow, where there are reports of the Syrian ambassador here at the Kremlin meeting with the Soviet Politburo. We have not seen him yet, but we believe that he will be coming out of the Kremlin soon. Please stay posted. Mr. Ambassador, why are you in Moscow? Would you like to report? We'd like to do an interview immediately. What's going on in Israel? Can you tell me what happened with what is happening with the base? Please tell us what's going on in Israel. Is the relationship between the Soviet Union and Syria fraying?
No, all relationships are good. Relationships are good.
Please, provide us with a comment.
I have no time right now.
Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you.
Please look at the camera for a photo. Please, sir. Please. Mr. Ambassador, can we have an interview with you later? No questions. Mr. Ambassador, please. No, just a quote, just one quote.
Thank you, Carlos. In other Soviet news, rare footage of the coronation of a new KGB head was leaked from within the Soviet Politburo. We have their footage for you here.
Sir, salute your new commander.
So your motherland would like to ask you to take the position of leading the KGB. Will you step up to this challenge and serve the people accordingly?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, comrade. To the KGB.
To the KGB.
The Soviet Union and the United States enter a new phase in the space race as Soviet cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov was successfully launched into space in the Soyuz-1 and is currently orbiting Earth. The US, on the other hand, successfully launched Lunar Orbiter No. 1, which has entered orbit around the Moon. The space race between the USSR and the USA is starting to heat up. In lighter news, Skippy the squirrel is the world's first small mammal to don water skis. You've got to see this footage to believe it. We interrupt this footage of Skippy the squirrel with breaking news out of the Middle East. War. We have multiple reports of military engagement along the Sinai between Israeli forces and Egyptian, Syrian, and Jordanian forces in the Golan Heights and the West Bank. Initial reports seem to indicate that the Arabs were taken by surprise, with the Israeli army pushing deep into Arab territory. Egypt, Syria, and Jordan opted not to unify their military commands, leaving their defenses uncoordinated. As news become available, MNN stands by with further updates.